For You, a Netflix review. This one, I got some things to say about this one. I'm confused. This one was called Hotel Reverie, and it's your boy Icon with another Netflix Black Mirror review for you. Before we get started, hit that notification bell, like it or subscribe. Check out my other reviews to help boost those watch time hours. And let's get started. So, right out the gate, before I even watched this episode, I heard on the interweb that Issa Rae's performance wasn't very well liked all across social media. And it starts off, she's playing a character who, she's an actress and she's done a lot of big blockbuster films. But she's always been a supporting actress. She's always been like the hot side piece, in a James Bond film, or, she's basically been like the eye candy in some sexy drama or whatever. And her whole thing is she's in search of that big time role. She said that she's tired of being the one who's chasing men in all of her movies. She wants to be the person who's being pursued. Well, she wants to be the one who's doing the chasing. Like she wants to be out there. She wants her Casablanca, her Hotel Reverie to an extent. And she wanted that big time movie role that would solidify her, like throughout all space and time. Now there was a company that has this new technology, because it's Black Mirror, so it's got to be technology. They created technology that allows you, because the woman who originally wrote Hotel Reverie, and I guess she directed it or she wrote the script, she said it was based on her life and her father and everything like that. She made movies back in like the 50s or the 40s or whatever. She's still alive. And she was saying that the movies that she used to make, they're no longer coveted in today's society. But the company told her, hey, we can remake one of your movies for a more modern audience. She said, we can redo Hotel Reverie. But she's like, there's no way. And then she said that the woman said there is a way, because with the technology that we have, we can basically replace the main actor of Hotel Reverie with an actor from today's world. So because of that, she was interested and she said, okay, let's do it. So they were trying to get like these big name male actors, and they couldn't get any of the male actors to do it. Issa Rae's character was on the list of actors that they wanted, and she was the only actor that said that she would do the movie. So the studio was shocked. They were just like, great, like Issa Rae said she would do the movie. That's awesome. But then they said she only wants to do the movie if she gets to play the lead. The lead was originally played by a man. Issa Rae wants to be in that male role. She wants to be in that space. So she wants them to gender swap the roles to where the lead character is a woman and the person being pursued is a guy. I don't have a problem with that. If you watched Hotel Reverie back in the day, why would you pay to see the exact same movie that you might as well watch the original? So flipping the genders to where it's a man that's married and his wife is trying to kill him and he meets this doctor who's a woman. I was like, I actually don't have a problem with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. Here's the problem. So they told her that she gets to play the lead, and they said that because of the technology, they can do the gender swap. That's not a problem. And the woman, the original writer, she was okay with that. When they brought Issa Rae in, when they brought her in, and they told her that, listen, we're going to do this new technology. We're going to connect this technology up to your brain. It's going to put you in a virtual world of the Hotel Reverie movie. All the characters, they're not real people. They're just digital, creations. But the movie is going to play out the way it's supposed to play out. All you have to do is just follow along and say your lines accordingly to where the scenes take place. Everybody follow me? Okay, fine. So she lays on the table. They connect the device to her head. The director, before they started, the director said, make sure there's no liquid anywhere near any of the equipment. One idiot didn't listen. More on that later. They put her into the virtual reality, and now she's in this virtual reality movie, this Hotel Reverie virtual reality. Now here comes the problem. She's the main character. She's the lead. She questioned, she said, I'm in black and white. And then she said, but this movie isn't taking place in 2025. This movie's still taking place in 1940. And they were just like, yeah, what's wrong with that? She said, I'm a black woman. Like, I'm a black woman from 2025. And I'm just supposed to just walk around, and these white folks are just supposed to be okay with me walking around. She said, well, they're computer generated AI images, so they won't see color. They won't look at you as a black woman. They'll just look at you as the doctor and as the character. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. They'll just see her as her. So then they tell her, now mind you, because she's in the virtual reality, she's not really thinking straight because she's still in the shock that she's in a virtual reality film. So she hasn't really got her bearings yet. But they were just like, hey, listen, the movie's about to start. You need to sit down and you need to say your lines and do everything according, just like in the original movie. So she sits down, and then they were just like, okay, here comes, your love interest. Your love interest is going to come into the door. When her love interest came into the door, it was still Clara. It was still the woman who was the lead actress in the 1940s film. So now I'm just like, hold up. You said you were going to gender swap. So shouldn't Clara be like Cliff? Like, shouldn't this be a guy, a virtual reality male coming into the hotel, and Issa Rae's character should be trying to pursue this man? I was like, why is it still a woman? Because they weren't trying to pass this movie off as a lesbian film. They were just like, yes, you're Issa Rae, you're Alex, you're Dr. Alex or whatever, you're a woman, you're a black woman, and your love interest is just going to be this white lady, and nobody's going to have a problem with that. And I was very surprised because the writer herself, the one who was like, oh, this was my biggest movie, my father helped me write it, and he was inspired by the piano. She was so into her film. She was so beloved into her creation. She did make a comment. She was just like, well, this is colorful. When she saw Issa Rae and Clara together, she was making comments throughout the whole film. But I'm like, why are you okay with the fact that they're both women? Like, the way she was acting, I would completely, like, I understand getting her to gender swap it took some getting used to, but I don't see her being on board with a full-blown lesbian film. And unless I missed it, they didn't say, oh, we'll change Clara to a dude later. It was just like, when did this turn into a lesbian film, and why is no one questioning? Why is no one questioning this? So we're doing the movie. We're still doing the movie. And here's the part where I think people got on Issa Rae because she was still, I guess, like in shock of the virtual reality world. When Clara came in and she was supposed to say her lines with Clara, in the original movie, the doctor was very suave. He was smooth. He was sophisticated. He was like, oh, I like my wine shaken, not stirred, and you're the loveliest rose I've seen all across the land. Issa Rae's just like, yeah, girl, give me something to drink, and you looking fine. And I'm like, why are you talking like that? I'm like, why are you talking like that? Like, you should know better. It's like, you can't take black people nowhere. Like, you know better than that. And so then she tried to play the piano, because there was a scene where in the original where the doctor plays the piano and the woman's supposed to get all like hot and bothered. She tries to play the piano, and to come find out she can't play the piano. And I'm like, why was the piano not digitally like digitally altered? Because the thing is, because they're AI images, they're going to react to whatever she does. So as long as she follows the script to a T, they're going to respond accordingly. But because she was going off script completely, and because she was cursing, being ghetto, and because she couldn't play the piano, the AI images were reacting to her being a goof. And that kind of like changed the story plot, because now the story's changing a little bit. And it got, it got really bad because they had to try to course correct, because now there was one character, he was supposed to poison this old lady. That didn't work because she missed her cue to get the poison. And then she took the poison and poured it on the floor. A dog drank the poison and died. And that's not how the original story is supposed to go. So she kind of like fucked up the original story, and they were trying very hard to get back on track. So then there was a moment where she was supposed to see Clara, and Clara still sees her as a black woman, and she's perfectly fine with that. So Clara sees her outside. The two of them start talking. Clara twists her ankle, and then Issa Rae's like, oh, as a doctor, I can help you with your ankle. So she brings her up to her bedroom, and this is the point where the two of them are supposed to have sex. So she brings her up to the bedroom. She's treating her ankle injury, and then while she's treating her ankle injury, the two of them start kissing and start making out. And then The writer, the old lady, the original writer from the original movie, she made a comment. She was like, wow. Because when she started kissing Issa Rae, when her and Issa Rae started getting into it sexually, she was like, the director, the writer, the original writer, she was like, wow, Clara wasn't this into the sex scene when she did it with the male actor back in the 40s. She was like, I'm actually surprised by this because she was like really into it. More on that later. So then while they were getting into it and everything, the one idiot that was working on the computer stuff, he had something to drink. He spilled his drink on the server and it blew out the server. So when the server blew out, they were like, oh shit, now this woman is, now Issa Rae, she's trapped in this virtual reality world. Now the problem that I don't understand how this happened because they didn't explain it, but every single character, every single AI generated person that was in the virtual reality, they froze when the server crashed. The only character who did not freeze was Clara's character. So Clara and Issa Rae were the only two functioning characters. So now everybody on the other end, they're trying to fix the servers to get everything back online. They were able to communicate with Issa Rae through a microphone, but now the microphone's dead. So now Issa Rae is trapped in this world. All the other characters are frozen, and Clara's now asking questions. So instead of trying to come up, now you're supposed to be an actor. You're supposed to be able to improv. You're supposed to be able to think on your feet. Issa Rae did not come up with some elaborate thing to try to get Clara, to understand what was happening or to get her, like to calm down or whatever. She just flat out said, she was like, yeah, bitch, you ain't real. This ain't real. We're in virtual reality and you don't matter. And I'm like, why did you don't tell the when you're in virtual reality and you're talking to a virtual reality simulated AI person, you don't tell the AI person they're an AI character. Like you don't tell them that. So now she freaking out. Like she don't know what to do. Issa Rae don't care no more. She's screaming at the top of her lungs trying to get out of the damn thing. So Clara ends up like leaving, and then she was just like, oh, you're wrong, this isn't fake. She was like, I'm real, I'll prove to you that I'm real. And then she tries to go out into the world, and then the thing is, there was a moment where she kind of accepted that maybe this is fake or whatever. And then when she accepted it, she's like, well, if this is fake, she's like, I'm not gonna sit here miserable with you the whole time. And then she walked out of the hotel. She went through a door, which the door she went through apparently took her into the internet. And then when she went into the internet, she started seeing all the headlines, all the newspaper articles. She started seeing the history of the actual actress who played Clara in that movie. We saw that she eventually, they said she died of an overdose or something, but she saw the images and the realism of what the actual real actress went through when she played that role. Come to find out, the original actress that played Clara in Hotel Reverie was a lesbian. She had a thing for like the makeup girl that was working on the set, which is why because there was even an article that says critics question the love romance between the male and female character in Hotel Reverie. They weren't buying it. The reason why people were buying it, and the reason why the original director, the original screenwriter, the reason why she said, oh, Clara wasn't that into the sex scene. She wasn't this fired up when she did the sex scene with the male actor, because she wasn't into him because he was a man, because she secretly likes women. And she had this secret love affair, with the female makeup artist or the female like PA assistant, or whoever the hell that lady was. I guess because of the stress of her like truly being like gay, like being lesbian got to her, and then eventually because she had to hide that pressure, she basically like took her own life at some point. And Clara saw all this, so that explains why she was so into Issa Rae, why she was so very like elevated into her character, because she was a woman and she found out that her actual persona secretly had a thing for women. So then when she learned all that, she decided that she didn't want to end up like her actual human counterpart, and she embraced Issa Rae, and she decided, she's like, well, since we're both trapped here, like she accepted the fact that it's not real. She was like, since we're both trapped here, let's just, make the most of it. So the two of them basically lived a life together, because let's say for the tech crew that was trying to get the computers back online, it took them 20 minutes to get the computers back online. For Issa Rae and Clara inside the virtual reality, it was like 20 months had gone by. Time was moving faster for them than it was in the real world. So in the amount of whatever the time length it was, that the two of them spent together, they spent all that time getting to know each other. The two of them fell in love with each other. They had multiple acts of sexual relations together. Like, they did the deed so many times. The two of them fell in love with each other. So now Issa Rae was legitimately in love with this woman and vice versa. So then when they finally got the servers back online and they were able to talk to Issa Rae again, they told her, they said, listen, the entire virtual reality is going to reset itself. It's going to reset itself back to the point where you and her kiss for the first time. And then Issa Rae was like, no, don't do that, because she knew that if it reset itself, Clara wouldn't remember her. So they reset the whole thing. Clara went back to normal. The two of them kissed. And then there was supposed to be a line that Issa Rae was supposed to say, and she didn't say it because she was trying to figure out what to do. But there was like, you got to say the line in order for the story to continue. So now she's confused, because she really loves this woman. She doesn't want to leave this woman. She wants to stay. She actually wants to stay in the virtual world. But the team is like, we got to get you out. And then there was a moment where they said, listen, there's supposed to be a scene where you're supposed to be on the roof with Clara. Her husband's supposed to try to kill her. And then the husband ends up, getting arrested or whatever. And then once the husband gets arrested, you have to say the line forever and always. They said once you say the line, the credits will roll, and then we can pull you out of the virtual reality, because we can't pull you out until the movie's over. So then Issa Rae was like, well, what happens if I don't say the line? And they said, if you don't say the line, you're going to be stuck in the virtual reality world forever. And I'm just like, is that until she says the line? Like, if she ever says the line one day, will it automatically stop? And then they said that eventually she'll die in the virtual reality, which I was like, well, that's a big jump, and I was still shocked that they couldn't just yank her out of the whole thing. So now they're trying to get to the end. And, there was a moment where they finally got to the end. Like, they came up with different ways because they had to alter the story now. They came up with alternate ways to finally get to the end. And then when Issa Rae goes to goes to the roof, she's with Clara on the roof. And then her husband shows up to try to kill her. And because Issa Rae and Clara at that point kind of like had a thing for each other and kind of like fell in love with each other, and I guess Clara felt those feelings, from like previous. When the husband tried to shoot Clara, Issa Rae jumped in the way, stopped him from shooting her, and then the two of them started fighting and wrestling together. And then when the husband almost threw Issa Rae off the building, Clara picked up the gun and killed her husband. And that wasn't supposed to happen in the original story. He was supposed to get arrested. He wasn't supposed to die. And then, so now the husband's dead on the floor. The cops are on the way upstairs. And then Issa Rae was like, you're going to go to jail for attempted murder. And then she was like, oh, but it'll be worth it because I love you, darling. And then she was like, and then because Issa Rae loved her so much, she was like, I can't let you go to jail. Issa Rae took the gun from her, and she tried to tell the cops that she was the one that killed the husband so she could get arrested and Clara can be saved. And I'm like, woman, she's not real. This is the point where I'm like, she's not real. I'm just like, are you that lonely in the real world to the point where, and then it's like, is Issa Rae's character, was she even lesbian in real life? Like, that was never explained either. To sit there and put your life on the line for a virtual reality character, like, that was wild. So then when the cops tried to arrest Issa Rae and take her to jail, Clara picked up the gun again and she shot the police officer. She started shooting at the cops so they wouldn't arrest Issa Rae. And I'm like, this AI lady is crazy. And then the cops shot back. They killed this poor woman, and now she's dead on the floor because she tried to save the woman that she loved. And I'm just like, this is way beyond past the story. The original writer, she was actually kind of getting into it at one point. And then, when Clara was dead on the floor, Issa Rae held her. And then she was like, I love you, my love. And then she was like, I love you too. And I'll be yours. And then she stopped. And then the director was like, bitch, say the line. She's like, we need you to say the line. Because see, at this point, like, even if we're buying the delusion of her wanting to stay in the virtual reality to be with this virtual reality AI person, she's dead now. So you might as well just say the line now because the girl gone. And then she was like, I'll be yours forevermore. And she started crying. And then after that, the credits rolled and they got her out of the virtual reality. Fast forward, I guess the movie was a success. Like, they put out the movie, and that was the thing. They said when they put the movie out, they said that the movie did very well at the box office. It was very critically acclaimed. Everybody loved it. They made all the money that they was hoping to make, and everything worked. But they still never said but I guess they didn't replace Clara. They just made it, like, they made it a lesbian movie, and just nobody, and everybody was just perfectly fine with that. All this talk about, the integrity of the original film and blah, blah, blah. Y'all done gender swapped. Y'all done did the lesbian thing. Like, y'all done killed dogs and poisoned dogs. Like, I just don't see the lady, like the original woman, like the writer, as much as she went on and on and on about the original Hotel Reverie and how like the prestige must be secured at all times, I just don't see her being okay with all the changes that happened, unless they put a big ass truckload of money at her house and then she was like, fuck it. but then in the end for Issa Rae, because again this is Black Mirror, so there's always got to be something sad in the mix. The sad part about it was Issa Rae actually did get what she wanted, because she said she wanted her, like her Casablanca, she wanted something that could withstand the test of time. Her agent said, are you talking about as your career, or are you talking about in real life? And she said both. And the thing about it is she finally got what she wanted. She got a lead role where she was like the main person. She got to chase somebody, romantic interest. She got to be, like that character that she always wanted to be. But it came at a price, because her performance came, her acclaimed performance came at the unfortunateness of her actually being in love and then losing the person who she really loved. So her performance was actually 100% legitimate, which is why it came across so good off screen. And she was very depressed about that. But then I guess in order to make up for it, the studio sent her a laptop with a flash drive in it. And the flash drive had an AI generated version of Clara on it. It had a telephone that she could connect to the computer. And then when she called the telephone, when she connected the telephone to the computer and she saw the video of Clara in, like in the movie, she was able to talk to Clara on the phone into the computer. So Clara in the video on the computer, she's just like walking around doing her thing. The phone rings, she picks up the phone, and then her and Issa Rae just have like conversation. And then she was like, oh, do you have time to talk? And then she's like, I got all the time in the world. And then the two of them basically spoke to each other, back and forth over this telephone that was connected to the computer. I thought they were going to give her a video that has Clara in it, and they were going to give her like the virtual reality thing to connect to her face so she could go in there whenever she wanted to spend time with her. But instead, she's just able to talk to her. So she can't actually be with her, but she can be with her verbally, which is the weirdest, longest distance relationship of all time. And that was how this one ended, and thank you for tuning in. So this one wasn't very tragic. I mean, it was a heartbreaking situation, but nobody died. I mean, Clara died, but she came back. We're so used to Black Mirror ending in like tragedy or some sort of like weird devastation. I'm like, this was actually kind of nice. Like, it was actually kind of nice. Like I said, the only thing that I thought was just strange was the way that old lady was talking about like the sanctity of the 1940s film. I was just confused at how quickly she accepted all these changes that I don't think she would have accepted like otherwise. And then again, if the newspaper said the new lesbian film of Hotel Reverie, I'd have been like, okay, then they marketed it as a lesbian film. That's perfectly fine, but I don't think they did that. So everybody just accepted how awkward that was. But share your questions, comments, and concerns down below. It was a good episode. Like, it was a positive episode, so I can't be mad at that. Like, this is definitely good. And I think Issa Rae's acting, I believe that was done on purpose. But here's the problem with that though. Like, the whole thing about her being extremely ghetto as hell when she was in this movie, a lot of people would be like, well, she was in a world that she wasn't aware of and she was caught off guard and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but you're still an actor. As an actor, she should, like, that was the most unprofessionalist thing of all time, for her to be in this film with all these esteemed 1940s actors and her talking like a ghetto mess. Like, from a professional standpoint, I'd have been like, can we at least act the part? Can we act suave? Can we act sophisticated? We can't be coming to like, yo, what up, Clara? Like, was really good. Like, I was like, nah. I was like, that was bullshit. I was like, you kind of disappointed me from an actor standpoint. Like, you figure like a well-renowned actor would know beter. But anyway, share your questions, comments, and concerns, and let's talk about it. What do you think of this particular episode? Check me out on social media, on X, on Twitter X, on Instagram, on TikTok, and YouTube, where you can leave your questions, comments, and concerns. And we'll continue on for this and some more Black Mirror. Check out my reviews for the first 2 episodes of Black Mirror. This is the 3rd one, and the 4th one was coming right back at you. So that was it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. So till next time, as Hollywood goes global and everything hits virtual reality and all this craziness and foolishness happens, take care. Don't fall in love with AI. And until then, we're out this